Hello fam, and welcome to the She Leads the podcast. Week to week we'll be going through different conversations and topics, from business to spirituality to motherhood and to whatever pops up in this vortex and this vibration. Today I wanted to jump on here and talk about spiritual awakening and what does that look like for you, and what does that look like to you, and on a collective and as a global perspective. So it's becoming a quite of a loose term, new age, or I'm spiritually awoken, or I'm awake. But do you actually know what spiritually awakening is? When you're spiritual awakening, do you know what that is? Spiritual awakening means to me that you are constantly doing the work. That for many years you have been either looking or asking the questions of why and how it should be and why you don't agree with this. Some of you may watch the news, some of you may not. Some of you may listen to podcasts about new age and growth and 3D and 5D and where we're going in this transformational multidimensional reality that we live in. And some of you may even practice Buddhism. You may practice meditation. You may even just go to church. You may be a Mormon or whatever works for you. There is a particular person or something that we all or maybe look for incitement. So with me, I look to spirit source. I've previously said that I see spirit and I talk to spirit and I channel into my higher self. I work with the Council of Light. I also work with Archangel Michael and Metatron now. So, and we're moving into this 3D. So you can't just wake up one day and just go, I'm spiritually awakened, because that won't happen. You spiritually awaken or awakening or whatever you want to call it is something, it's a process of what we are all moving through and how we navigate it. So there's been a lot of study that this world is free will. There is no such thing on other planets as emotions. And there has been study over the years that, if you want to call it extra ETs or aliens or whatever you want to call it, have come down and they have studied us and they want to understand why us humans have emotion and why we put emotional attachment into things. And from that, we can control a situation. We don't like the outcome. We push ourselves and push ourselves and push ourselves to a particular goal or outcome. And then what happens is, when it doesn't happen, we go into a big spiral. And it's because we humans are emotionally attached to the situation or the goal or a person, especially people, or maybe a work goal that you've been working on, and it doesn't turn out the way that you would hope for. So we can go down through a whole spiral of events, from depression, anxiety, victimhood. Victimhood is becoming quite mainstream now, and I'm just watching what I'm saying and how I'm saying it to you so you can understand it in a very simple way. And I do like to explain things in a very simple way. Just for those that are jumping on, just tap and subscribe to this podcast. And if you feel like sharing with any friends, blessings to you. But going back to controlling a situation, so we're not meant to control the situation. We're not meant to control a person or a habit or an animal or an outcome. As we grow from this 3D, which is, people call it the matrix, And the 3D is about programming, it's about the government, and it's got to be a certain way and a certain system. I mean, a prime example is our schooling system. It's been out of date for many, many years, and it was very good at the time, but now it needs an overhaul, and that's going to cost millions of dollars to redo and overhaul. It eventually will come in time, but you will notice that a lot of parents are now homeschooling their children. A lot of parents are pulling their children out of the system and they're putting them into either Montessori or their Steiner. And everybody has heard of Steiner. Steiner is a different way of learning. It's more of a left side of the brain, which is our creative side, and it's more organic inside us, and it's more of a feeling wise of what's going on inside us. You don't have to wear a uniform, and it's more play based. So while you're going to a Steiner school, you are actually enjoying what you're doing. Whereas if you go into the matrix, into the main system, a lot of the teaching styles is not for a lot of our kids. And it needs an overhaul. So it will come in time. But going back to this 3D and government programming. So if you're listening to this now, there's I think we're in the Iraq war, and there's going to be major things going on with Trump, the war, and whatever happens. Like, I don't know, I don't really watch the news. I have people in my house that I live with, and they share their knowledge with me. Otherwise, I choose not to engage myself into it. I choose not to get caught up in the down the vortex of all this bad stuff. There's no really good or bad. It is what it is, and that's the simple reality. So me talking to you and educating you and just saying, hey, if you are in a situation at the moment and you feel like you're in a spiral and you have no control on it, why don't you just surrender into it and just let it go? And if it's a really tight feeling inside you, everything's coming back to feeling in this 3D as we're moving into this 5D. And this is what spiritual awakening is looking like. It's not going to the Ned podcast and looking for the answer. It's not going to your friend and looking for an answer. It's not going to watch a movie or a theme or the news or whatever the case may be. It's about looking within. So spiritual awakening is looking within ourselves and feeling every single fucking uncomfortable emotion that there is inside our body. And it's uncomfortable. It can be really hard, like energetically challenging hard. Some days are up, some days are down. The thing is though, as we're moving at such a faster space and pace in this multidimensional reality world that we're living in, we are moving to a space that we can overcome it a lot quicker. And for those that are still caught in the loop of depression and anxiety, it's your narrative to how you want to see your life. And you can listen to this and you can walk away and go, oh my God, she's full of shit and blah, 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 blah. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because I've lived depression. I've gone down anxiety. I've had nervous breakdowns. I've had burnout. I've been given opportunities of having death all around me since I was young. So my spiritual awakening began when I was 6 years old. And I was seeing spirit when I was 11. I was channeling and all this stuff. And because it's becoming a mainstream now, it's like it's giving us permission for us that have been evolved for so long to come into this and speak about it openly, because us humans, we grasp on information and all this knowledge and what's going on and what's the difference between the 3D matrix and the government world into this 5D, and how we're moving into this love and this paradigm of acceptance and compassion, and where there's no hate, and how that we can turn depression. We can turn depression into love, because all we need to do is really ask the questions and go within. And that in itself is a spiritual awakening. By you having a kundalini experience, by going into all your chakras. And I'm happily to talk into the disc and the earth, the circles that we have in our bodies. We have 7, and it starts from the base of our chakra into the crown of our chakra, and then our vortex or our vibration goes up above into the planet, up to the moon, up and above into the sky, and so on and so on. But there's a bit of an understanding. So if your base chakra, which is the root chakra, which is it's red in color, and it means grounding. So if you're worried about money, if have you got scattered feelings, if you're angry, you're not connected to the base of your chakra, and it's just underneath the tailbone. And what the energy centers is, they all work in alignment. So if one of them's out, majority of it, they're going to be out. But I'm not going to go too much into the chakras today. Just all I know, wanted to share with you is that from the base chakra up until you've got your base, your sacral, and your solar plex, and up until the heart is the 3D, meaning that it is our job on this planet, because we choose one life. We come in to learn the lessons that we are born in. So we choose our parents, okay, and by choosing our parents, we are actually being given the opportunity and the lessons to learn of what our parents could not give us, okay. And some of us have had really, really traumatic upbringings, and I understand this. I've been one of them as well. Some people have been sexually assaulted, and I understand this. But it's for us that are evolving and coming into this or becoming this spiritual awakening, we are learning to navigate that we can't change our past. We can't change that this person did this, but in saying that, they gave us an opportunity or a growth or a lesson to learn from that situation, because we were born into this life to learn these lessons from years ago. So we're not just talking about from this life, we're talking about past lives. And we can go back years. I go back, I think, the 1700s century, I think. But, you know, I've had 22 past lives, and I pretty much have written down what each past life of me has been and how it's showing up into my waking life right now. And it could be a little bit confusing for people that are just listening to this, but all you need to know is that if you are going through a spiritual awakening, or you are just waking up for the first time and seeing things with eyes wide open for the first time and seeing for life for how it is, take the little control button off and surrender. And in that, surrender into everything. And I mean everything. And it's going to rip you apart. It's going to rip you into two. It's going to create different versions, because as we know, from 0 to 7 is when we're a sponge, and we learn so much. From 7 to 14, we learn more. From 14 to 21, from 21 to 28, and so on and so on. And you'll find from 28 to 36, and from 36 to 42, as we grow into our 40s and 50s, we become more acceptance of who we are. And we become more confident in who we are. And we're not afraid to speak up, or, you know, for the people that were bullied, we're not that person anymore. We now can say, hey, I was bullied as a child, but now in my 40s, I'm okay with that, because people didn't like me because I wore glasses, or people didn't like me because I was smart, or people didn't like me because, hey, I was different. I was very spiritual. I always could see spirit. Even my friends that know me now, they know that I was talking to them 20 years ago about talking about the invisible people. But I'm now allowed to speak about it. Whereas 20 years ago, it was foreign. You know, I've been practicing Reiki since the age of 30. And that's for 25 years I've been honing in, but the last 6 years I have been doing this full time. And I'm not saying it's easy, because it's not. Once you crack open that can of worms, you're fucking gone, mate, until the day we pass. And this is what life is all about. Spiritual awakening on every single level of your soul, where it expands you into becoming the person that you were born in this life to experience. Another example is like my 16-year-old. She is a mini me at 16, like what she is now. And I keep reassuring her. I wouldn't say reassure her, because she has the confidence of oh my gosh, she's the confidence of a 50-year-old person. But for me, giving her and just letting her know to never dim her light for nobody is the key point. So for those, if you're watching mums, have you got teenage kids and they're different, you know what? They're the change makers. They're the change makers. If your child is, and I mean a proper diagnosis of ADHD or Asperger's, these kids are the change makers. I'm not talking about the people that are saying every second person, I've got this wrong or something's wrong with me. No, you don't. You just really need to come within and really get quiet and see what's actually going on inside. And if you can give yourself permission to go quiet and get really, really quiet and not listen to all the external bullshit that's outside, because it's bullshit. Everything's bullshit. The only reality you're listening to now is me speaking to you. And we're speaking about spiritual awakening and spiritual consciousness. Whether you wake up and you're looking and you pull your blind open and you're going, oh my gosh, look at this world. Like it's sun. The sun is out. The sun rises for 12 hours. The moon rises. The moon's up for 12 hours. Where does it come from? Like, where does it come from? Where do the stars come from? Like, you can go and down your scientific stuff about the water in the air and all the rest of it and how rain is. But if you really look at the reality, you look at a tree. You have a look at a tree and all it needs is a bit of watering. But the trees can talk to you. The vibration talks to you. Animals talk to you. A stranger having a conversation about nothing is a messenger from the above. Like, the more that you're becoming more conscious of who you are and feeling confident in who you are, and for those that are listening and just are in a space and a place of like, I don't know, it's what? You don't need to know right now. You don't need to know, because there is people out there that care about you, and whether you want to see it or believe it, or whether you're caught down that rabbit hole, just know that by you having faith and you believing in something, there's a purpose, there's a passion. We've got the change makers, we've got the people that are ultra smart, we've got the people that start things, we've got the people that are teachers and givers and nurses, we've got the people that channel people and the people that talk about all this extraterrestrial stuff. Every person on this planet has a purpose. And whether you have figured that out now or whether you figure that out in the next 10 years, it's okay. Like, what I'm saying to you is you don't need to be hard on yourself. And as we're breaking down this 3D stuff and all this past paradigm stuff, and we're becoming more spiritual beings, it's all gone. That narrative, that old belief of how things should be is gone. It's more becoming that we are one, but yet we are separate, because we are all individuals. But we can share that journey together, and it's all about choosing love over no matter what. There's no such thing as hate. It's a horrible word, and I don't even know where that came from. But it was caught up in a paradigm from many, many years ago. So the change makers like myself and the starter makers like you and the people that are going through this spiritual awakening and this consciousness and that are wanting to do better for the world and a global and have this effect on even a family member or your sister or your brother, or if it's about you educating something, but deep down inside you, you are a change maker. And the more that you can accept this within yourself, the more that you will be at peace in your world. And as I was saying, it's not going to be fucking rainbows and unicorns, my darlings. It's going to be fucking hard. But the more we step into this space, and the more that if we take time out, if we're off, your body tells you. Your body tells you and talks to you. It's the most beautiful temple that we have. And if you can learn to live with how the body is, you will become so obsessed with it. Like all it needs is water. It needs organic food. It needs exercise, fresh air, and beautiful things around. Like I've got lavender oil, geranium, roses, sweet peas, organic foods. It's very, very simple. Majority of it is built from the ground. So if you take any snippets out of this spiritual awakening and out of our 3D experience, if we can learn to live in this physical 3D world, that's when we can move into the 5D. And the 5D is acceptance and surrender, and you don't give a fuck because it's all about love. And I'm not saying that you have to say yes to everybody and everything, because you don't. But what I'm saying to you is that you feel so confident within yourself, you don't need to look outside into the external world. And you know, when shit's going down and you're going through the midst of it, all right, knowing that you always come back into your heart space no matter what. You know why? Because you are a beautiful soul. You have got so much to give and so much to share. And I just need to share this message with you, from me to you today, just saying that if you are going through something, make the choice to change. Whether you walk outside and you connect yourself into the ground. And if you don't want to do that, do what fills your cup up, bit by bit, step by step, and don't give a fucking rat's ass of what people think. Because the more we rise into this 5D, the more people are becoming united. This is why I built my community. This is why I bring people together. Because it's about all different walks of life coming together with acceptance, coming together and saying, hi, I have a story. Hi, I'm struggling through this at the moment. But it's when we get caught up in our narrative, in the ego mind. And we can talk about the ego and the mind and the thinking, the rational and the doing, and pieces of this with the masculine and the feminine and the doing. We don't always have to do. And that is an old belief that we're releasing. Like some of this stuff goes back ancestral, man. You know, I'm one of the change makers of this world, and so are you. So wherever you are, beautiful blessings to you. Gratitude. Thank you for listening to my podcast. I really do appreciate you, and much looking forward to see you on the next episode. Much love. Bye.